Plasma Boy and the opposite lord stood in the small, cozy bakery, surrounded by the delicious aroma of freshly baked cakes and pastries. The display in front of them was filled with an assortment of beautifully decorated wedding cakes, each more extravagant than the last. The soft hum of jazz music played in the background as they both eyed the cakes in front of them.
I still can't believe we're doing this.
I told you we're living life on our terms now. No more hiding, no more worrying about your father. Just us. And of course, we have to have the best cake.
All right, lovebirds. I've got a few samples for you to try. Let's see which one is the winner.
So where do we start?
This one's amazing.
Wow, that's really good. But we should probably try a few more before deciding.
They spent the next several minutes sampling various cakes: lemon, vanilla, red velvet, and a surprising raspberry cheesecake that caught the opposite lord's attention. Each flavor brought a new expression of delight or deep thought as they tried to imagine what their guests would enjoy.
I'm still leaning toward the chocolate. It's classic.
I think I'm sold on the raspberry cheesecake. It's unique, just like us.
Okay, you've got a point, but can we at least have a chocolate layer?
Deal. Raspberry cheesecake with a chocolate layer it is.
Wonderful choice. I'll make sure it's perfect for the big day. When are you two tying the knot?
Soon. Very soon.
As they left the bakery, walking hand in hand down the street, the weight of their decision to be together, despite everything, felt lighter than it had before. For the first time in their lives, they were free to plan their future without fear of Plasma Man's interference. It wasn't just a wedding they were planning. It was a new beginning.
So, what's next on the wedding checklist?
Well, we still need to pick out the flowers and figure out what we're going to do about your father showing up.
Yeah, about that. Let's just hope he doesn't crash the wedding.
Even if he does, we'll handle it together.
With a shared smile, they walked down the street, ready to face whatever came next, knowing they had each other no matter what. Plasma Man sat in his dimly lit office, his fingers drumming impatiently on the desk. The tension in the room was palpable, his anger from recent events still fresh in his mind. He was brooding over his son's betrayal and the fact that Plasma Boy had dared defy him with the help of the Hero League.
It's done.
What are you talking about?
The weapon, it's complete.
Which one? You know we've been working on several weapons in the science lab. Be specific.
Ah, yes, but this one is special. The science team has finally finished rebuilding the lab after those Hero League fools destroyed it, and in doing so, they've perfected a new weapon. One that can strip away a hero's immortality.
Immortality, you say?
Yes, this weapon, once fired at a target, will cause them to rapidly age. Imagine it, heroes like Carl and Connor, both hundreds of years old. The moment they're hit with this weapon, their bodies will immediately catch up to their true ages. Their bones will become brittle, their organs will fail, and they'll die instantly. No hero is immune to the ravages of time once their immortality is stripped.
This is perfect. Carl and Connor, two of the greatest immortals. They've been thorns in our side for too long. With one strike, we'll reduce them to nothing but dust. No more Hero League figureheads. We can use it on either one of them. Carl, the so-called immortal hero, who's over 400 years old, or his son Connor, who's past 200. The moment they're hit with this weapon, their bodies will wither, their bones will crumble, and they'll be dead within seconds.
It's the perfect plan. They've lived far beyond their time. This will finally bring them to their natural end.
And it's the perfect payback for what they did. Helping my son defy me? They wanted to interfere in my family? Fine, I'll interfere in theirs. Without Carl or Connor leading the Hero League, that organization will fall into chaos. Once their leaders are gone, the Hero League will be vulnerable. The heroes will be lost, disorganized. That's when we'll strike at the heart of their organization.
So, when do we attack?
Soon. First, we'll need to lure one of them into a trap. Carl or Connor. It doesn't matter which. Once we have them in our sights, we fire the weapon and it'll be over.
The Hero League will never see it coming.
And when they realize what's happened, it will be too late. The immortals they've relied on for centuries will be nothing more than dust.
The two villains shared a dark conspiratorial laugh, their minds already set on their next move. The Hero League had meddled in Plasma Man's affairs for the last time. Now they would pay the ultimate price, and with Carl and Connor gone, the world would be ripe for the taking. The plan was set. All that was left was to pull the trigger and watch as the Hero League crumbled, one immortal at a time.
Carl sat at his desk, his brow furrowed in concentration as he read through a report about recent missions. The steady ticking of the clock on the wall was the only sound in the room. He had been going through files for hours when the sudden, shrill ring of the phone on his desk made him jump slightly. He reached for it, wondering who could be calling at this hour. As soon as he picked up, a familiar cold voice echoed through the receiver.
Carl, we need to talk.
Plasma Man, what do you want?
There was a pause before Plasma Man spoke again, his voice laced with venom. You and your pathetic Hero League had no right to interfere in my family's affairs. Sending heroes to break Plasma Boy and the opposite lord out of prison, you overstepped.
Carl clenched his jaw but kept his voice calm. Your son was imprisoned because you were trying to control him. We gave him a choice, and he made his own decision. That's what this is really about.
Plasma Man's tone was deadly. I don't care what Plasma Boy thinks he wants. You meddled in my business. You and Connor sent your heroes to interfere with my family. And now you're going to answer for it.
So what do you want, Plasma Man?
I want you or Connor to come to Villain League headquarters. We need to settle this face to face. No more games, no more interference. If you want to keep playing hero, you can come to me directly.
There was a tense silence and Carl's mind raced. This was clearly a trap. Plasma Man never made straightforward offers like this, but he needed time to think.
Hold on.
Carl said calmly, pressing a button on his phone to put Plasma Man on hold. He exhaled slowly, then stood up and crossed the room to the door of his office. Opening it slightly, he leaned into the hallway.
Connor, I need you in here.
A moment later, Connor entered the office, his eyes curious but concerned as he approached Carl's desk.
What's going on? Carl motioned for him to sit, then quickly explained the situation. That was Plasma Man. He's furious about us helping Plasma Boy and the opposite lord. He's demanding that either you or I go down to Villain League headquarters to meet with him. That's a trap. You know it is. He wouldn't be calling for a peaceful conversation. Carl nodded, folding his arms. I know, it's definitely a setup, but we have to be careful. He's calling for direct action, and if we ignore it, he'll escalate things. We can't afford to let him think we're scared or unwilling to face him. So, you want me to go down there? You're the best choice. I would go myself, but I think Plasma Man is expecting me to show up. If you go instead, it might catch him off guard, and you'll be in a better position to negotiate. Or fight, if it comes to that. And what if he's planning something worse? He's not going to just want to talk. He might have a weapon or some kind of trap waiting for us. That's always a possibility, but we can't ignore this. If we let Plasma Man feel like we're running from him, he'll take that as a sign of weakness, and things could get a lot worse. At least if you go, we're showing we're willing to stand our ground. I don't like it, Dad. It feels too convenient. I wouldn't send you into this if I didn't think you could handle it. You're strong, Connor. Stronger than even Plasma Man realizes. If anyone can outsmart him, it's you. All right, I'll go. But I'm not going in without backup. I'll take a small team with me, just in case things go south. Good plan. I'll inform Plasma Man that you're coming. Stay alert, and don't take any unnecessary risks. This could go wrong fast. All right, Plasma Man, you'll be meeting with Connor. He'll be there soon.
Good. I look forward to seeing him.
The line went dead.
Be careful, son. I will. I'll make sure we're ready for whatever Plasma Man has up his sleeve.
With that, Connor turned and left the office, already forming a plan in his mind for the dangerous meeting ahead. Colton, Zach, Chris, Mr. Rence, Mr. Dugan, and Mr. Callaway were gathered in the Hero League's private movie theater. The lights dimmed as the eerie opening credits of a horror movie Zach had suggested rolled on the screen. They sat back, relaxed and ready for some downtime after their recent string of missions.
This one's a classic, guaranteed to scare the crap out of you guys.
I've seen scarier things in real life, try me.
Colton, Zach, Chris, Mr. Rence, Mr. Dugan, Mr. Callaway, I need you all to come up to my office, immediately.
The group groaned in unison, the tension of the movie dissipating as they realized their relaxing evening was being cut short.
Great, just when it was getting good.
I guess it's time for another mission, huh?
They quickly made their way up to Connor's office, wondering what could be so urgent. As they entered the room, they saw Connor pacing behind his desk, clearly deep in thought. He looked up as they arrived, his face serious.
Thanks for coming. I didn't want to interrupt your evening, but we've got a situation. I've just spoken to my uncle, Plasma Man.
The group exchanged wary glances. Any mention of Plasma Man was never good news.
He's demanding a face-to-face meeting. He's furious about what we did with Plasma Boy and the opposite Lord, and he wants to settle things. It's obviously a trap, but I can't ignore it. He's expecting me to come alone.
So, what's the plan? You're not seriously gonna go there alone, right?
No, that's why I called you all here. I want you to come with me, but not directly. I need you to stay in the van, outside Villain League headquarters. If everything goes smoothly, you won't have to do anything. But if things go south, I'll have this on me. It's a panic button. If I press it, you'll get an alert, and that means I need backup immediately. I don't expect Plasma Man to play fair, so I want to be ready for anything.
You're walking into enemy territory. Are you sure it's worth the risk?
We don't have a choice. Plasma Man is unpredictable, and if we ignore this, he might escalate things even further. I need to at least try to defuse the situation before it gets worse.
We'll be ready. If you need us, we'll be there in seconds.
That's the plan. I'll go in and try to talk him down. You stay in the van, and if I hit this button, you come in. Fast.
No problem. The van's ready, and if anything goes wrong, we'll be there before they even know what hit them.
What do you think Plasma Man's really after? He wouldn't be calling you just for a chat.
He's out for revenge, obviously. He feels like we've meddled in his family affairs, and he wants to make us pay for it. But I'm not sure what his endgame is yet. That's what I'm hoping to find out.
The room fell into a tense silence as the weight of the situation settled over them.
All right, let's get moving. I don't want to keep Plasma Man waiting.
With that, the group stood up, ready to head out. As they made their way toward the van, the familiar sense of camaraderie filled the air. They were a team, and no matter what happened inside Villain League headquarters, they knew they could rely on each other. Mr. Rence started the van, and soon they were on the road, heading toward what could be one of the most dangerous confrontations they'd faced yet. The van hummed quietly as they sped down the highway, the tension thick in the air as they mentally prepared for what lay ahead.
Whatever happens in there, we've got your back.
I know, and I appreciate it. Let's just hope it doesn't come to that.
But deep down, they all knew the likelihood of Plasma Man playing fair was slim, and they were ready for whatever came next. Connor stepped out of the van, the heavy tension in the air palpable as he approached the ominous entrance of Villain League headquarters. Behind him, Colton, Zach, Chris, Mr. Rence, Mr. Dugan, and Mr. Callaway watched closely from the van, their nerves on edge. They all knew this wasn't just a diplomatic meeting. Something far more sinister was waiting on the other side of that door.
Stay here.
Remember, if I press the button, you come in. No hesitation.
Right, no hesitation.
The group nodded, their faces grim with understanding. They watched as Connor walked up to the front door of the headquarters, and after a brief pause, rang the doorbell.
Connor, welcome. Plasma Man is expecting you. Please come inside.
Connor stepped through the threshold, keeping his senses sharp. As soon as the door closed behind him, the atmosphere changed. The air felt heavier, darker. He had a feeling something was off, but before he could react, the snake lunged at him, signaling a group of guards who had been waiting in the shadows.
Get him!
The guards surged forward, grabbing Connor from all sides. He struggled, but they were quick and efficient, pinning his arms behind his back and dragging him deeper into the dimly lit hallways of the headquarters. His heart pounded as he realized he had been set up, but the worst part was that his team hadn't seen it yet.
Hey, what the hell is going on? This wasn't the deal!
Oh, I'm afraid your meeting with Plasma Man will take place under different circumstances than you imagined.
Where is he? What's this about?
You'll find out soon enough. We're taking you to a special place. Your new prison cell. Plasma Man will meet you there shortly.
Inside the cramped, cold cell, Connor stood up, breathing heavily, his fists clenched in frustration. He looked around, realizing this cell wasn't meant for negotiation. It was meant for him to be held prisoner. Outside, in the van, the rest of the team sat anxiously, unaware of what had just happened. They couldn't hear Connor's cries for help or see the ambush unfold. Colton kept his eyes on the front door, waiting for any sign from Connor.
Something doesn't feel right. It's taking too long.
Mr. Rence turns from the driver's seat.
We give him 5 more minutes. If there's no sign by then, we go in.
I don't like this either. Plasma Man's not exactly known for keeping his word.
Seconds later, the sound of footsteps echoed down the hallway outside his cell. Connor's eyes snapped toward the barred door as a figure slowly emerged from the shadows.
Well, welcome, Connor. I'm glad you could join us. I trust the accommodations are to your liking?
What's the meaning of this?
You wanted a meeting.
This is your idea of negotiating?
Oh, this is a negotiation, all right, but not the kind you were hoping for. You see, Connor, you and your precious Hero League crossed the line when you interfered in my family. Now it's time for you to pay the price. Oh, I don't just want revenge. I want the Hero League to fall. And with you here, I'm going to make sure that happens. No, Connor, locking you up is just the beginning.
As Plasma Man turned to leave, the door to the cell clicked shut, leaving Connor alone with only his thoughts, and the knowledge that time was running out. Outside in the van, the team waited, still unaware of the danger their leader was in. Later that afternoon, Plasma Man returned to Connor's cell, his footsteps echoing ominously as he approached the door. This time he wasn't alone. He had brought with him the one thing that could finally tip the balance of power in his favor. He greeted Connor with a sinister smile, a gleam of malevolence in his eyes.
Well, I hope you're comfortable, Connor, because I have something special planned for you.
What do you want now? Haven't you done enough?
This is something you'll appreciate. You see, we've developed a little tool that will send a very clear message to the Hero League. No more meddling in our affairs. This device strips immortality. Once I blast you with it, you'll age rapidly, to your actual age of 220 years old. And let me tell you, Connor, your body won't handle it. You'll die within seconds, and your precious Hero League will realize that we are not to be trifled with. This isn't just about you, this is about sending a message to your father. When he sees you wither away, he'll know the Villain League never forgets.
You think killing me will stop the Hero League? You're delusional.
Oh, I'm not worried about stopping the Hero League. I'm worried about making them suffer, starting with you.
Meanwhile, outside the Villain League headquarters, Colton, Zach, Chris, Mr. Rence, Mr. Dugan, and Mr. Callaway were growing increasingly anxious. It had been too long since Connor had gone inside, and they hadn't received any communication from him. They knew something was wrong.
We can't wait any longer, we have to get inside.
The group quickly made their way to the side entrance, but their hopes were dashed when they spotted an electric fence surrounding the perimeter. It buzzed with high voltage, clearly meant to keep out intruders.
Great, how are we supposed to get past this?
Let me try something.
He used his telekinesis to lift debris from the ground and hurl it at the fence, but the debris simply bounced off, the electric current too strong to let anything penetrate it.
We've been going about this all wrong. This fence runs on electricity, right? What if we give it more power than it can handle?
Overload it?
I'll absorb the electricity from the fence, build up enough energy, and then I'll become lightning.
The group watched as Colton reached out, his hands brushing the electric fence. The moment his fingers touched the metal, the current flowed into him, his body beginning to hum with energy. Slowly, his human form started to shift, becoming more translucent as electricity coursed through him. His body transformed into a massive ball of energy, his form flickering like lightning. With a burst of determination, Colton, now a living mass of electricity, rammed himself into the fence, sending a shockwave through the entire perimeter. The fence sparked violently, smoke rising from the circuitry, and within seconds the fence erupted in a small explosion.
That should do it.
Nice work, let's get moving. They quickly made their way past the smoldering wreckage of the fence and approached the side entrance. They knew time was running out, and Connor needed them. The mission had just turned from a rescue to a race against time. Inside, Plasma Man stood over Connor, readying the device that would strip him of his immortality. The clock was ticking, and the heroes were about to make their move.